Path Media. I was a minimum wage movie theater usher that made good and became a top earner in my network marketing company. Now, after 16 plus years in the profession, I'm finally teaching myself how to leverage the internet with online marketing and social media marketing to continue to grow and expand my business. My name is Ronnie Cruz, and this is Path of the Network Marketer.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about virality in your content. That's right, virality in your content. And in fact, what I'm going to be doing today is revising my previous stance and statements on virality. In past episodes, I know I've said multiple times actually that virality should not be your end goal. And you shouldn't chase virality with your content because you might compromise, your messaging and your story and your voice, the core reason why you're putting content out there in the first place. I'm revising because I was recently exposed to the Boss Babes. I know I'm always late to the game. They've been around forever and they're humongous in terms of the presence that they have, the influence they have, and they're one of the biggest media companies in the world now. They've built it really pretty much grassroots using social media. And so I heard a talk on that they did recently about things that you can do to get your message and your voice and your content out there in front of more people. Again, they have millions, I think more than 4 million followers now at this point, with their social media and online presence. So you got to listen, right? You got to listen. I'm always late to the game, but I'm glad I got exposed to them because I'm definitely going to start following them a lot more now. And it's not that I was ignoring them. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I listen to so many things. I consume so much content in the kind of like the education side of it that I hadn't dived into the Boss Babes yet, but I definitely will after this. So in the talk that I heard them deliver, they mentioned virality as one of the tools you should employ in building your online presence, and it totally makes sense. Like, why wouldn't you, right? Again, we want to get our message, we want to get our story out there in front of more eyes. Now, I will say this: like the revision in my previous statement about not chasing virality isn't adjusting to say that, okay, yes, you should chase virality. I still want to temper that, and I believe the Boss Babes would be in agreement with this, and this is how I interpret what they're saying. My take on it is that yes, virality is an important tool, but it shouldn't be the primary aim and goal for your content. Right? And for them, it's at the top of a pyramid, and there's so many other things that are at the foundation of that pyramid that you need to pay more attention to, and then virality is the last piece of the puzzle. So for me, it isn't so much that you should chase virality or that you should not chase virality. Be conscious and cognizant that virality should not be the primary aim of your content, especially if you're new to content creation, right? If you're new to the foray and if you're just starting to create your presence online, trying to be viral, what happens is you risk just chasing viral trend after viral trend, and it might get you some hits, and you might have a piece of content that goes viral. However, what you'll end up with is a channel that has zero substance, and therefore people will have nothing to connect to, right? And so you might have a viral hit that has hundreds of thousands of views and likes, maybe even millions, but those millions of people aren't going to stay because your whole channel is just a bunch of, viral trends, right? And like there's nothing to keep them there, right? So what I want you to pay attention to is, of course, consistency, right? Consistency. Develop the habit of creating and posting content every day. And that allows you over time to develop your message over time, to develop your voice over time, to develop your persona. And then that way your channel starts to build a substance to it, right? That's what people are going to get attached to first. Now, when you have that foundation set, then you can start paying attention to virality and incorporating virality, not specific viral trends necessarily, but the structure within your individual pieces of content. Structure them in a way that, okay, if I make this tweak in my content, that might have a better chance of going viral, right? So it's not so much that you're just doing trends and following the next dance craze, right? I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine, but that has different, different aims and different goals. I'm talking about creating a consistent presence, a consistent voice, and a consistent, a consistent message with your content, consistent substance in your content. And so you're not necessarily going to do viral trends. You're going to look at viral posts and viral content, pick apart the structure and apply that structure to your own content in your own way so that it's unique to you, and so that you don't compromise the substance and the messaging that you're trying to put out there in the first place, right? Virality should not be at the cost of your substance. That's really the main point. That's really the main point, right? And when it comes to picking apart the structure, I mean, it could be anything from like the types of songs that you use, from how you angle your content or your camera, specific backgrounds. I mean, whatever. Like I don't know. I'm just starting to look at this, right? But I am. This is just speaking personally of my own short form content on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. Like I'm starting to now, because I'm comfortable and I've laid in the groundwork and the foundation of my consistency, my messaging, my story and my substance, my persona and my voice. I'm now looking at viral structures and the virality of my content. Okay, so what can I tweak within each piece of content that allows me to get in front of more eyes, that the algorithm likes better, while still maintaining a consistent structure, consistent substance, while still being consistent and true to my own messaging, right? Really, really important, really, really important. So yes, virality as a tool, very important, but don't let it be at the cost of your substance, your voice, and your messaging, right? All of that has to be consistent. All of that has to be consistent. Virality is just, it's the icing on the cake that you should incorporate once everything else is laid down, once the other foundation is laid down. All right, hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, come join us in our Facebook community and we can have more conversations about it. And you can ask me about it, right? Facebook.com/groups/Path of the Network Marketer. It's our Facebook community, growing it out. Further discussions on topics like this and any other topic that you might have heard us discuss here on the show. That's a great place to talk more about it, to get more in depth. There's a lot of exclusive content that you'll get there at the Facebook community that you won't get anywhere else. So again, it's Facebook.com/groups/Path of the Network Marketer. The link is in the show notes of this episode. And of course, check out Boss Babes when you get a chance. I'm going to really start diving into their material and all the stuff that they've put out there in the online space, because I know I have a lot to learn from them. And again, it's not that I was avoiding them; it's just that I'm learning so much right now. But they're definitely getting added high up on the playlist. So I would suggest you check them out as well. All right, so that's going to do it for today's episode. More from me tomorrow. So until then, be well, be safe. We'll see you in the next episode.